Hello fellow Summers and welcome back to my channel, and we are here today with my final introductions video, and this video will go over my Sims that are currently at university and the handful of families that I have in downtown currently. I do think this is probably the best place where I can kind of explain how I play my university Sims. So I'll go ahead and start off with them. So I do play with all three of the universities that are given from the expansion pack. I did not add them all right away. I kind of added them one at a time. So I started off with Sim State University, and then I added Academy Latour, and then finally La Fiesta Tech. I do not have any Sims at La Fiesta Tech. It is the most recent, but generally how I like to play these is Academy Latour is kind of like my Yale and Harvard. This is the elite college campus. So I have my Sims. They have to be part of a legacy family or they are becoming a legacy family. And I generally have them play they have to pay actually to go to Academy Latour. It's 20,000 simoleons per sim. So obviously this is for my wealthier sims. There isn't really a lot of benefits they get out of it other than like the ones I make up related to legacy families. So yeah, I do have quite a few sims there just because I have a lot of richer sims that have sent their kids. Sim State University was the first university that I first introduced into the Stupid Hood. And this is the university that everybody can go to. So I do have it kind of set as like, it's cheaper to go here to just that it's available to anyone. It's cheaper because they're considered in-state, kind of like that. And for my La Fiesta Tech, I kind of want to play it as like the harder university. This is like my MIT, so all the Sims that are kind of into STEM or science and mathematics, I kind of want to have them live here, but I'm still working it out. The main benefits that I have for these university campuses is Academy Latour is the campus that is perpetually in fall. And if you don't know, fall in the university campuses has a benefit of you can learn quicker. And then for Sim State University, I have all 4 seasons, and for La Fiesta Tech, it is perpetually summer. So that's kind of the biggest difference. That's really the only one I could think of other than adding like a paywall essentially for any of these Sims to get into. But I'll go ahead and start with Academy Latour because that's where most of my Sims are. Here we are at Academy Latour. I do have a handful of households here, so there's a total of 5, but they're relatively small. One thing about when I play the university campuses is I don't use the dormitories because they generally have the same amount of glitches as the apartment buildings. So if I invite someone over, they will disappear into a room and I will never see them again. So it's a little bit annoying. So I just have them move into generally just a rental house. It also works with how I play with the billing because there is a little bit of billing that is involved in this, but I'll explain that more in a different at the Sim State University because Academy Latour has the tuition that you have to pay up front. So I'm going to start here. This is called the Beaker House, but there's no beaker here. I don't do descriptions here. I usually try to blow through the university Sims as fast as possible because it is a little bit boring, but I still don't mind it. I kind of play it amongst all the other Sims to give myself a break. So here we have Enzo Monte and Knoxburb. This is just one of the basic rental houses here. I don't try to do anything specific for the Sims in university, but I do have Enzo Monte and Knoxburb here. This is Enzo Monte. I'll go ahead and show his family tree. He is the second child of Brittany Monte and Marcuccio Monte. He is a popularity Sim. He is currently in university for a political science major, which he has some work to do. He is in his senior year, so hopefully he makes it. He's a Leo, so he's pretty neat, very outgoing, a little bit more lazy and slightly more serious, but he is very, very nice. He is in a relationship with Stella Torino, I guess. And I guess he's with a couple of Sims. I thought he had another relationship, but I guess not. So since he's a popularity sim, look, he has another one here. He has a bunch of 3-bolters, so I guess he's really just having that full college experience. So good for him. Did I give him his secondary yet? Yes, he's a secondary romance, so I guess that works out well for him. And then he's hot-headed, he's neurotic, he's a vegetarian, he's a virtuoso, and then he hasn't gotten his 4th yet. So I can probably give it to him since he's in his senior year. This is the loan jar here. I do use the loan jar as a way to kind of have a loan system for my college students. So it depends on how much the sim owes. So if they're getting A's, they kind of don't have to borrow as much. But when it comes to the sims that are in Academy Latour, I generally allow them to borrow as much as they want for all the stuff that they may want, just because they're considered from wealthy families, so usually they can afford it. And this is Knoxburb, and man, does he look like his father. I don't know if you guys remember this. This is from the first episode, so he is a burb, so he's from the Pleasant View introductions. He is actually the child of Jennifer and Don Lothario. Jennifer kind of had a midlife crisis, started having flings with people, and ended up getting pregnant with Knox. And he looks just like his father. But he is unaware. He thinks that John is his father. I don't even think he knew that his father was, that John was not his father or anything like that, because he kind of looked like his mother. He is sort of, he looks like he wants to see Hazel. He does have a relationship with her. I wasn't trying to make this go any further because they don't have any chemistry. But we'll see. He has plenty of life to live. He's a junior in college. He does have a secondary, so he is a secondary romance. So maybe he doesn't want to be that serious with her. I guess we'll have to see. And then for his traits that he has right now, he's absent-minded, a genius, good, and irresistible. And he is currently going to school for psychology, and looks like he is going to be just fine. And that is our first family in Academy Latour. And next down the lane, I know there's this cloud here, but next down the lane of Sims that are here, this is a cap house. But once again, I don't have any caps staying here. We have Griffin Walker and Niccolo Lothario. And just another standard house that is available to rent at the Sim State University lots. I like this face that Griffin has here. Just to reacquaint ourselves with some of the families, his family's from Veronaville. He's technically a cap, but I'll go ahead and show his family tree. He is the child of Constance and Kent Walker, and Kent is a cap. So he is the youngest. He's a sophomore, but he's about to be a junior. And he is currently in university for literature. He still has work to do, but we'll see if he gets there. He's a family sim. He's not doing too good. I'm assuming there was a death in the family. Yeah, Reagan passed. So when it comes to his secondary, he doesn't have one yet. So I should probably be giving him one soon. Let's see. He could be a secondary knowledge. But yeah, he is, personality-wise, he's a Capricorn. So he's pretty neat, but he's very shy and very lazy. Extremely playful, but he's also nice. And overweight. So secondary, he will probably be a knowledge sim, which might help him out here in university. And then for his traits that he has so far, he's excitable, inappropriate, and a bookworm. And the other sim that we have here is Niccolo Lothario. He is the youngest child of Cassandra and Don. Him and Griffin are actually in a relationship together. That's why they're currently living together. He's a knowledge sim, so he's about to be a sophomore. So he's just beginning at his college years. He hasn't declared yet. I usually try to wait for them to declare a major after their freshman year, but sometimes they have the want immediately. He's a Scorpio, so he's neat, he's pretty outgoing, he's active, he's in between serious and playful and grouchy. I don't have a secondary for him yet, but how I usually play is he'll be probably a knowledge sim, a secondary knowledge sim. So he's probably going to do fantastic in university. He is a supernatural fan, he's lucky, and he's mean-spirited. So I don't know if these two are going to, you know, get together in like a marriage sense or a union sense. We'll have to see. I do have the spontaneous proposal mod, so that could happen at any point. But yeah, this is them. We'll see what happens with them when we get to university, which might be a minute. And a final look at this rental house while Griffin jams out in the rain here. And for the last Sims in this row here, we have the Cleveland house, which nobody with the last name Cleveland is here, but we have Skip Broke and Ivy Goth. And just a standard rental house here for Ivy Goth and Skip Broke. I do kind of want to go over how I play with the years and rotations and how it works with my university Sims. So it is currently Monday in the main hoods, and because it's Ivy's senior year, this counts as Monday for her. So each, freshman year, sophomore year, and all that counts as one day back in the actual neighborhoods part of the game. So since it is Monday, any Sims that start off on a Monday or on the Monday or the first day in the rotation will be their first year. So if they end up coming 3 days into the rotation, they will stay in I will play them in university for the 1 or 2 days that they need to be in university, and then they will stay here until the next round. I feel like that's the most realistic approach. So since we have Ivy here, who's a senior, this Monday will be her senior year, and then she will be more than likely put back into the Goth household on Tuesday. Sometimes I'll do Monday after 6 o'clock. I'm basically waiting for that aging, and that's how I kind of keep it in sync. As I play, I hope it'll make a little bit more sense, but it works for me since each rotation is 4 days, and there are 4 years in university. Even though it is multiple days in the actual gameplay of university, I still just count it as 1 day or 1 year for, I guess, simplicity's sake. I feel like it's a little complicated. I always have to double check my math, but that's generally how I do it. This is Ivy Goth. She is the eldest child of Alexander and Lucy, so she is in her senior year, so she will be moving back on Tuesday in the rotation. She does have Alexander's kind of face, which I love on female Sims. She's super pretty. She is a fortune Sim. She's probably going to take over the Goth mansion. She's a literature mare, so she kind of got that from her mother. She should graduate no problem. She is a Sagittarius, so she's a little bit more sloppy, slightly more outgoing, very active, pretty playful, and a little bit grouchy. For her secondary, I'm probably going to be making her a secondary family Sim since she's more playful. I think that makes most sense for her. She is a hopeless romantic, a bookworm, a snob, and that's it for now. But yeah, she's actually engaged to Skip here. So as soon as they got to university together, they immediately had a fling. Skip here was kind of in between Hazel Cleveland, who has already moved back to the main hood. He was kind of in between, and then, flinging with both of them. But Ivy ended up winning in the end. So... And this is Skip Broke. He is obviously named after his grandfather who passed away. This is Dustin's oldest child with Desdemona here. Oh, not you. Yeah, this is Dustin's eldest child with Desdemona here. He is also a fortune Sim, so I'm sure he's going to be very happy to move into the Goth mansion with Ivy when they get married. He's in the mathematics major, so he's doing all right. It looks like he needs some cleaning, and it looks like he wants some. So he should do fairly well in university. He's also a senior. I think I'm trying to debate where I want to put him, just because the goth household is going to be very big, but I guess we could fit them. He is a Pisces, so he's more neat. He's in between shy and outgoing. He's very active. He's in between serious and playful, but he's very nice. I don't know if I've given him a secondary. I have not, but I think he's going to be a secondary popularity sim. I think that will work well for him. He is excitable, a light sleeper, adventurous, absent-minded, and I have to give him his last trait. This household is pretty simple. It's just a couple. I did kind of try. I purposely put Hazel and Skip and Ivy together because I wanted to see who Skip inevitably would want to be with, and he obviously chose Ivy. Over here we have a single house, and this is the Cap house. The only sim that resides here is Felix Cap. This is a house that I've actually used quite a bit through my generations that I've played in this neighborhood. Currently, the only sim here is Felix Cap. This is definitely a single sim household, but I've tailored it so that way it has like a pool and it has a hot tub in the back, and so it's a bit of a party house, which is why I like sims like Felix to live here, because he is a popularity sim, so he gets to have the college party life. So for those who may not remember, Felix Cap here is actually the child of Marissa Cap. I'll go ahead, and the father is Jeff Rutherford. So Jeff has passed away. He did contribute money so that way Felix was able to go to Academy Latour, since this is kind of the nicer school, and Miranda was not going to turn it down, so she had her oldest come here. He's a popularity sim. He is a philosophy major, which I'm assuming he just never picked to roll a major, and I feel like philosophy works well for him. He is a Pisces, so he's in between sloppy and neat. He's very outgoing, very active, pretty serious, and then maximally nice. So he's a very social, outgoing sim. And I believe his secondary is actually fortune. So I was thinking it was romance. He does have a couple flings going on, I think, with just some of the dormies that are here. So I don't think it's anything serious. He does have the non-committal trait or commitment issues trait. So he doesn't seem interested in a long-term relationship, but he's a bit of a coward, unlucky. He's a virtuoso, and then I have to give him a fourth. But yeah, that's him. He's in his junior year, so we'll only see him for a couple of years until he grows up. And I'm sure we'll be seeing much of this house as we continue to play with the Sims in university. And kind of on the far side of campus, we have a Grunt household. This is Lila Grunt, and she lives by herself kind of on the edge of the campus. I guess I played a little bit longer until Lila's day. She just got back from university, and she lives alone in just one of these little townhouses. She has a very pink house. She lives alone, but I want to go ahead and introduce her. She is the child of Tank. This is Tank and Alan's daughter, Lila, who is named after her grandmother. She's kind of interesting looking, but she likes pink, which is why I gave her an extremely pink house. She is a knowledge sim. She's in her sophomore year. She's in the mathematics major. I was tempted to move her to La Fiesta Tech because I feel like this is the type of situation, but I haven't really worked it out fully. I still may. We'll have to see. She is a Virgo, so she's extremely neat, but more on the shy side, very active, more serious, and in between grouchy and nice. I feel like she definitely likes living alone. I don't know if I have a secondary for her yet. I don't. So I think her secondary is probably going to be Fortune. And for her traits that she has, she's hot-headed, ambitious, and eccentric. So I have to give her 2 more traits. But she is our last sim over here. And perhaps she'll be our first sim in La Fiesta Tech, but I do kind of love her house, so probably not. Here we are at the beautiful Sim State University, which is currently in winter, it seems. We only have one sim household here, so we'll go over them briefly, and I'll kind of give a little bit more of a description of how I play Sims, at least in this campus. This house over here, as you can tell, it's named the Goth household, but there are no Goths here. This was actually one of the first households that I had in the college expansion, or in the college rounds, which was actually Alexander Goth. That's why it's named after him. I've always had somebody stay at this house at this campus. And currently the only person staying here is actually Faye. So we'll go ahead and see her. I'm actually kind of glad I ended up coming here when I did. This house looks so good with the snow on top of it. But yeah, this is the first house that I ever used in Sim State University, or all universities. So I usually have my Sims move into a rental as opposed to a dormitory, just because it has so many glitches and I don't want to add more Sims to the Sim count. So I usually try to just have them move into rentals. The only one here is Faye, and we'll go ahead and see her. This house is very bare bones for the most part. Like, I try to keep it so there's just some basic rooms where there's either a double bed or two separate beds, so I can have quite a few Sims staying here. I try not to have too many because I do get a little overwhelmed. But for the most part, it works out well when it comes to Sims that do move into Sim State University. Because there is no tuition involved, I kind of have a separate way in order to calculate what they're going to pay while they're at university. I use the Sim loan jar, and I choose the billing, and for all places, including Sim State University, every single day bills come, and it's at the highest levels. So basically, what the quality of all the stuff that is inside the house ends up being the bill for the day. So it's generally, and if there's more Sims, it costs more as well. Generally, for how it works out, it's like 1,000 simoleons per day for the Sim, or I would say it's actually closer to 800, since all this stuff's like really, really old and cheap. But it generally works out, because if a Sim gets straight A's, like the A+, and they get the $1,200 grant, or a 1,200 simoleon grant, it actually will cover their entire stay at university so long as they get that, which I feel is fair, especially for the university that's supposed to be for everyone. So if they get good grades, they usually never have to pay anything for bills. However, if they get lower, I will have them take out money from the loan jar, and it's usually about 1,000 simoleons each for each semester. And that's generally how it works out. It works out well. It's not a perfect system. Sims that, get, better grades end up paying more, but it's fine. It's already complicated, so I try to keep it as, that part as little complicated as possible. But now that I'm done talking about that, I'm going to go over to Faye here. Here we have Faye, and this is Zenith, who I think these two actually just got engaged. I feel like that's what this is right now. So yeah, this is Faye. She is the child of Hermia and Puck. This is their oldest. She's the first one to go to university. She is an interesting mix of the two. So she is a fortune sim. She's actually technically a junior, but because I usually have Sims enter the households if they were coming into university around 10 a.m. So that's why I haven't gone past it, because I just want them to be able to kind of start all at the same time, or else classes get a little messed up. And we do have somebody coming in basically right away, so that's why I haven't waited for her to be a junior, but she is technically a junior. She will be going back to the main hood, I believe, on Wednesday. She is currently in school for an economics major. She's a little glitched right now. I have that weird glitch where this won't show that they're passing, even though they have it. But for the most part, I'm pretty sure she will pass. She is a Cancer, so she is a little bit more neat. She's very shy, but very active, more playful, and pretty nice. And then, I don't know if I have a secondary for her. Oh, I do. She has a secondary family. And for the traits that she has currently, she's star quality, absent-minded, easily impressed. And that's all the traits that she has currently. She does have a loan jar, so she has had to spend some money in order to continue or to pay for her university. I think the most that it's ever cost a sim who like just wasn't doing great was about 7,500 simoleons, which I feel like is great for a degree. So yeah, that's Faye here. I believe Poppy is the one that will be joining her shortly. Just a moment of appreciation for Zenith here, looking at Faye. If I remember, he's a secondary romance sim, so that might... Do I have it? Oh, I can't look. But yeah, they're engaged, so they'll probably move in with one another. I'm sure she will be more than happy to live with him when she is out, considering where he lives. But yeah, that's this little well, I guess it's not a family. But yes, this is Faye. I think I usually start out playing my university sims first, but I think I'm going to show that at the end of the game. I usually play them in between other households because I get a little bored of playing the university sims all at once. In a final look, this is generally the only house that I play while I'm in Sim State University, so we shall be seeing this one quite a bit. And I just wanted to give a quick look at my downtown area. This is the classic downtown. There are just 4 sim households that are here that I will go over quickly, and these will be the last sims in our intros. I wasn't exactly sure where to start, even though there's only a few households here. They're all pretty small, except for this one over here. This is the Oldie family. This is definitely one of my more interesting families. So here I have Avery Oldie, which is the adopted son of the Oldies. And then there's Sophia Baldwin, Bottom Summer Dream, Gavin Newsome, and then we have Gigi Baldwin, Caspian Summer Dream, and Fern Summer Dream. And their description says, well, it was non-conventional. Avery, Sophia, Bottom, and Gavin wanted to raise their children together and to be close to one another. Which is very simple, a very simple explanation as to what their family dynamic is. So yeah, this is a beautiful house, and it was an expensive house. And one of the reasons why I kind of allowed this family to have it is because all 4 of the adults here are actually fortune sims. So they were the only ones that I could say could actually afford it. But I will go over everyone quickly. This is Gavin Newsome. He is part of the Gavin fam. Or I'm sorry, the Newsome fam, not the Gavin fam. This is Sophia Baldwin. So she is she's the child of Benjamin and Isabel. So she is the oldest. She starts as a child in the game. And then Bottom also starts as a child in the game. She is the second child, adopted child of Oberon and Titania. And then Avery Oldie here is the adopted child of the Oldies. I tried to do the thing for another sim. I was intending him to be with Bo, because Bo ended up rolling gay, and then so I made Avery bisexual, but they had no chemistry, so then this all happened. And then Gigi Baldwin is the child of Sophia and Avery. And then we have Caspian here, which is the child of Bottom and Gavin. And then we have Fern here, who is the child of Bottom and Avery. And basically what this family is this is a poly family. So it's a little interesting to play now. Like I said, I usually do the no jealousy token that is in there, but I have another mod. It's a relationships mod. I forgot what it was called, but it kind of interferes with it in a little way. So they have like their main partners, but for the most part, everyone's bisexual. But I'll go ahead and go over everyone. So here we have Gavin, Newsome, which is the oldest of the Newsome family. At least that's how I like to play it. He's a fortune sim. Everyone in this family is. He is almost to the top of the architecture career. That's kind of my goal with everyone. He is a Sagittarius, so he's pretty sloppy, a little bit more shy, but very active, on the playful side, and slightly grouchy. His secondary is family. And then he has the traits of star quality, an angler, insane, a mooch, and good sense of humor. And he has the jealousy token. When it comes to him and bottom, these two are the most. I know that Sophia and him have 3 bolts, but when it comes to bottom, these two are the ones that have been together the longest. And then, like I said, his child is Gigi. No, I lied. His child is Caspian. But I'll go ahead to bottom here. Bottom is a little bit more on the, like, she goes on dates a lot too. Like, she's definitely the most open when it comes to all of the Sims. She is a fortune sim. She has reached the top of the adventurer career. And then she is a Leo, so she's a little bit more sloppy, but kind of outgoing, pretty active, a little bit more serious, and in between grouchy and nice. She is a secondary popularity. And then she is handy, ambitious, natural born performer, loves the heat, and loves the outdoors, with also the no jealousy trait. And here we have Avery and Sophia here, who are also kind of a main couple. Avery is adopted, so he's kind of a random sim that was generated. He's a fortune sim. He's at the top of the athletic career. And then he is a Sagittarius, so he's pretty sloppy, a little bit more shy, very active, more playful, and a little bit grouchy. As you can tell, all these people have very similar personalities. His secondary is family. And then for his traits, he's brooding, he's clumsy, he's a night owl, he's a gatherer, and he's a bit of a mooch, but also the no jealousy trait. I think he has a couple of other random flings going on. I'm usually not too, like, uppity with this family. It's pretty chill. Sophia here, she is a fortune sim as well. And then she's level 8 of the military career. She actually flunked out of university in her senior year, so she didn't get to graduate. So this is probably all she's going to be able to get to. So she's going to be the only one in the house that doesn't reach level 10, but she still gets to live here, so whatever. She's an Aquarius, so she's sloppy, more shy, very active, pretty playful, and on the grouchy side. So yeah, look at all these people's, yeah, it's all very similar to one another. Yeah, 3 out of 4 of them. That's why they all have really good chemistry, I guess. And then she has a secondary family aspiration, and then she's a gatherer, she's ambitious, she's flirty, she's a vegetarian, and a workaholic. And I don't know if she has any more flings. Yeah, just these two. And then we're going to go to their kids. So this is Gigi, who I'm kind of, like, obsessed with. She just became a teenager, so I finally got to kind of give her a makeover. She is a romance sim, so she's already met Ruben here, who is also a romance sim. She's doing her thing. I love her, like, little pink girly aesthetic. She hopefully will go to university. She's in public school, but I think I'm going to put all the kids in private school because they are very wealthy. She's a Leo, so she's more sloppy, but maximum outgoing. She's a little bit more lazy, kind of playful, and grouchy. And then she has a couple traits. So she's a heavy sleeper, clumsy, and a party animal. And just to remind everyone, she is the daughter of Sophia and Avery. And this is Caspian Summer Dream, just to make sure we remember he's Bottom and Gavin's child. So he is pretty cute. He has a couple days before he becomes a teenager, so we will be able to see him turn into a teenager soon. He is a Scorpio, so he's more neat. Finally, someone in this house is. And he's more shy. He's pretty active, a little bit more playful, but grouchy. So, depending on... I'm probably going to make him a knowledge sim, considering he's the only neat sim in this house. So, but I did give him traits, I guess. So he's a perfectionist, unlucky, and a virtuoso. And lastly here, we have little Fern, who is actually the child of Bottom and Avery. And the only reason that I had her conceived in the game is because I wanted to see their genetics. So she does have a little bit of goofy eyes, but I think that she will grow into them. So I'm not going to be too harsh just yet. She is a Libra, so she is very sloppy, but very outgoing, more active, very playful, and a little bit more nice. I think I'm going to make her a family sim, just to kind of keep everything balanced out here. Oh. And that's definitely one of my more confusing households, but it's definitely a fun one to play, so hopefully everything works out when we actually get to them. I guess for everybody else, I'm just going to go down the line. So here we have a Newsome family, and I'll go ahead and read their description, and it says Gabriella and Steffi may be opposites in a lot of ways, but it balanced each other. Now that they have adopted their niece, will it throw their balanced life off? So yeah, this is Gabriella Newsome, Steffi Summerdream, and Yasmina. And in this townhouse here, we have Gabriella Newsome, we have Steffi Summerdream, and Yasmina Newsome. And just so people can remember who Yasmina's parentage is. Yeah, so Yasmina, her true biological parents are Georgia Newsome and Sylvan Summerdream, which are both the siblings of Yasmina's adoptive parents here. So Gabriella and Steffi figured, it would be perfect for them to adopt them because neither Georgia nor Sylvan had the means or the will to raise her properly. So that's why I figured that these two, they had nothing else going on. They have a cute little house. They have plenty of room. So I was happy to be able to give them, another sim to kind of focus on. This is so cute. So in this household, Gabriella here is definitely the more serious sim. She's a fortune sim. She, went to university. She has a really good career. She's worked really hard, and then you have Steffi here who is not very serious. So I find it very appropriate that we have Gabriella teaching Yasmina chess right now. But I want to get a closer look at them. And here's a close-up of Gabriella. So she is a fortune sim. She reached the top of the business tycoon career quite some time ago. She is a Cancer, so she's pretty middle of the road when it comes to her personality. But she's a little bit more neat. Definitely more on the shy side. Slightly active, a little bit more serious, and in between grouchy and nice. For her secondary, she is a secondary knowledge sim, and then for her traits, she is a snob, unflirty, friendly, star quality, and a perfectionist. So she's definitely more serious, definitely more career-oriented. So she kind of wants to instill that here on her adoptive daughter. And Steffi here, she is the child of Oberyn and Titania, but she's adopted. So this is the child that they want to adopt after Bottom and Puck. So she's not technically biologically related to her parents, and Sylvan is, so that's kind of interesting. But she's super cute. She's a popularity sim. She's much more casual. She works as a detective. She didn't go to university, so this is the highest she's going to get. So she has some days off, and then she is a Pisces, so she's in between sloppy and neat. She's pretty shy, more on the active side, a little bit more serious and kind of nice. Her secondary is fortune, and then for her trait, she's a light sleeper, a hopeless romantic, brooding, star quality, and a perfectionist as well. So they're kind of a power couple, not gonna lie. And Yasmina here, I just realized, has the pointed ears, so I'm actually pretty excited about that. She still has a little bit of time before she becomes a teenager. But yeah, so she's just growing up. She doesn't have any aspiration chosen yet. She is in private school already, which I'm glad about. I don't have to do that. She's a Scorpio. Come over here. Get up. So she definitely looks like her parents quite a bit. She definitely has a good amount of Summer Dream in here, though. So, and a Ginger, of course. So she's a Scorpio. She's more neat, pretty active and outgoing, very serious and grouchy. So she might be a little bit of a bully. I don't know if I've given her any traits. I have not. So she's still pretty early on, and we'll have to flesh her out, especially because she has a little bit more of a complicated upbringing. And that's our look at this house. We have 2 more houses left in downtown. And down to the recesses of downtown, we finally have, it's called the Gavigan House because Tara hadn't changed her last name yet. But this is Tara DeBatau. This is where she has moved to get away from everyone. I'll read her description. It says, new house, new job, new baby, ? While it was hard to give up her family and her house her late father gifted her, she thought it was all worth it to start over. However, she never expected to have a baby. Now it's anyone's guess who the father is. So, yeah. I think we already know the father, though. So, we have Josie and Tara here. So, I kind of wanted to get them together since it's just the 2 of them that are currently staying at this house. So, yeah, Tara is a fortune sim. We already kind of talked about her story, about how she wasn't really into her husband as much as she should have been. In reality, she is a secondary romance sim, which is why what happened. So she ended up having an affair. I think the flowers got left. One thing led to another. And now she is divorced from Isaiah. However, she ended up getting pregnant again almost as soon as she moved out, which was kind of a little heartbreak for Isaiah because he really wanted to have another child with Tara, and she didn't give him one. But she did give Romeo one. So, yeah, this is Romeo's child, Josie. And Josie is very interesting looking. So, we'll see how she ages up into that. Tara's really pretty. But she's a fortune sim. She is a copy editor. This is a custom career because I think I guess she's in a nature. So, she lost her previous career, which I believe was journalism. So, I figured I'd give her publishing as a thing. For her secondary, she's a romance sim, and then her traits are she's a perfectionist, adventurous, hopeless romantic, loves the outdoors, and a party animal. So you can see she was a little restless. And I wanna, yeah. This is Josie. She's a little weird. She looks like her dad. Hopefully that translates well. So for her personality, she's a Gemini. So she is more sloppy, but she's pretty outgoing, very active, more serious and grouchy. She's probably going to be a fortune sim. And then Tara is just going to live here. She's 11 days away from becoming an elder, so I don't think that she is going to get pregnant again. So this house is more than enough for them. It's already paid through. She got plenty of money after her father passed away. So that's just... She's going to be raising a young girl, even though she's much farther in life, but that's that. That'll be fine. And she's going to end up having more flings with random guys because that's all she's really concerned about. So yeah, she has like a thing with Gavin and a couple other sims, but nothing too crazy. She's definitely more, career oriented, but girl just needed to let loose, I guess. And that's it for this one. So we are going to the last house in the neighborhood. And the final house that we are going to is we're going to a Monty house where we have Romeo and his son Killian. So their description is Romeo spent his whole life running away from responsibility. He's been there for his kids, but now that Killian lives with him, can he raise him? And this little humble house currently belongs to Romeo Monty and Killian Monty. Romeo has not made a lot of money in his career, and his brother hasn't given him any. He's kind of been, I wouldn't say exiled from the family, but he has not been that welcome. He doesn't have a very good reputation. He has been caught cheating on other Sims, and he, has a bunch of kids that he's not really raising. So, until now, actually. This is a somewhat recent thing. So Romeo here is kind of taken over as like the Don Lothario nowadays since Don's passed. He is 5 days away from becoming an elder, so he's going to be an elder soon. I kind of gave him this hair because I had gray, and I figured it would work well for him. He is obviously a romance sim. He is an interpretive dancer. He has been at this stage of his career for so long now. He has no interest in doing better, so he makes okay money, but he doesn't make crazy good money. He's an Aries. I think that, yeah, he's an Aries, so he's more sloppy. He's a little bit more outgoing, in between lazy and active, in between serious and playful, and slightly nice. And he is a secondary popularity sim, so he's thrown a couple parties, but mostly for the ladies. He loves the outdoors. He's friendly. He's a green thumb. He's family-oriented and easily impressed. This is more along the lines of like the Monty family. Obviously, he has a couple kids now, so he has Michael and Killian and Josie. So Michael is obviously Bella's son, and then Josie here we just saw, and then this is obviously Georgia's son. But he has a whole bunch of Sims that he has been with. And he's probably going to be doing that for the rest of his life. His son is used to it for the most part. He had to deal with his mother also, so Killian's been dealing with it. He is working out currently. So he looks so much like his mom, but he's pretty cute. He kind of is covered by his hair. Romeo, get out of here. But he's a teenager. He just became a teenager, so I wanted him to be a little bit older inevitably when he moved in with Romeo. I didn't want to punish Romeo per se, but I wanted him just to be involved a little bit more in one of his child's life. So Killian's a really good student. He has an A+, even though he hasn't been as a teenager to school. He's a Pisces, so he's much neater than his dad, so he does a lot of the cleaning around here. He's pretty mature. He's a fortune sim, so he doesn't like necessarily living in, kind of a little more of a rundown house. He's a little bit more shy, but very active, in between serious and playful, and he's very nice. So probably either secondary popularity or, I think he's going to be a secondary knowledge sim. I don't think he has any relationships going on. He kind of likes Missy, but she is much older than him, so I am trying to keep him closer to Sims more his age. And he does have some traits. So he's friendly, a heavy sleeper, and absent-minded. And that is our last house. So this is a neighborhood with way too many Sims, but honestly, I personally love it. I like having all the intertwined relationships, especially across all the hoods, so I'm glad that I have been able to do this, and it has lasted as long as it has. And we have finally reached the end of the introduction videos here in part 5 in Downtown. Thank you guys so much for sticking it out with me. I know that there has been some feedback on my other videos. These are my first YouTube videos, so I am hoping to improve as we get into some gameplay. And I just wanted to thank you guys so much for sticking it out, and hopefully I will see you in the next one. Thanks again.